Before you assume you're broken, look at what your nervous system learned about staying safe. The voice calling you lazy, embarrassing, too much, or behind might not be your true judgment at all. It may be a 9-year-old part of you still trying to keep the family system, classroom, or social world from turning against you. That idea sounds soft until you notice how brutal the critic can be. It interrupts your emails, your dating life, your sleep, your confidence 5 minutes before a meeting. It acts like a drill sergeant. But underneath the tone, its logic is often simple. If I attack you first, maybe no one else will. Children build protection out of whatever works. Some become funny, some become invisible, some become excellent. Some learn to scan adults for tension and adjust before anything goes wrong. If criticism, perfection, people-pleasing, or overthinking reduce danger even once, your brain stored that strategy with unusual seriousness. A 9-year-old mind cannot create nuanced policies. It makes survival rules. Speak carefully. Stay useful. Never need too much. Get the grade. Read the room. Do not make mistakes in public. Those rules can follow you into adult jobs, adult love, adult creativity, and adult rest, like old software still launching on startup. This is why high-functioning, sensitive people get confused. You can be capable, thoughtful, empathic, and still feel internally policed all day. The outside world sees discipline. Inside, it feels more like being followed around by a panicked hall monitor with a clipboard and no off switch. Research on self-criticism, attachment, and internal working models points in the same direction. The mind learns relationship templates early. It predicts what keeps connection, status, and safety intact. If your system linked performance with belonging, your critic may still believe your life can collapse from one wrong sentence, one disappointed look, one imperfect draft. That does not mean your childhood had to be dramatic. Sometimes the training was subtle. A distracted parent who warmed up when you achieved, a teacher who shamed mistakes in front of the class, siblings who mocked sensitivity, an unpredictable home where being easy, bright, or self-erasing kept the peace. The critic forms in those micro moments. You spill something and everyone gets tense. You cry and someone rolls their eyes. You come home proud and the response is correction before warmth. A child does not think, this environment is limited. A child thinks, I should have managed myself better. Then the role hardens. Soon the voice appears before the outside threat even arrives. It rehearses embarrassment on your behalf. It edits your text 12 times. It says, don't apply yet. Don't post that. Don't ask for clarification. Don't rest until everything is done. It would rather exhaust you than let you be blindsided. That is why arguing with the critic often fails. You are trying to debate with a part that was never hired for truth. It was hired for prevention. Its question is not, is this fair? Its question is, will this reduce risk right now? Different job, different language. You can hear that old job in ordinary moments. You miss one deadline, and suddenly the voice says, people are going to realize who you are. Your partner seems quiet, and your mind starts building a case that you were too needy. A friend takes hours to reply, and your body prepares for exile. Notice the age of those conclusions. Adults usually gather more data. The critic does something younger. It jumps from one signal to total social danger. That speed matters. Fast, global, absolute reactions often come from earlier learning, especially when shame or attachment fear sits under the surface. There is also a body component people miss. Self-criticism is not only thought, it is state. Tight jaw, collapsed chest, buzzing stomach, shallow breathing, a readiness to fix yourself immediately. When the body is braced, the mind starts producing matching explanations. Then the critic sounds convincing because your physiology is already voting yes. This helps explain a brutal cycle. You feel stress. The critic activates to restore control. The criticism increases stress. Your system gets more dysregulated, so you make more mistakes or freeze more often. Then the critic points at the result as proof that it was right about you all along. A lot of burnout lives here. People think burnout comes only from workload. Sometimes it comes from internal management. You are carrying the project and a hostile supervisor in your own head. The supervisor never clocks out. It critiques how you work, how long you took, how tired you feel, even how badly you need relief. This part can quietly damage intimacy. You over-explain so you cannot be misread. You pre-reject yourself before someone can reject you. You hide needs until resentment leaks out sideways. You choose people who feel hard to reach because your nervous system still thinks love requires earning, guessing, and self-correction. The old job can look impressive from the outside. You prepare too much. You anticipate every objection. You become the person who catches errors before anyone else. People praise your standards. Few see the cost. The critic is making ordinary tasks feel like survival tests, and your body pays the invoice. Gifted and sensitive adults often miss this because their adaptation gets rewarded early. Adults call them mature, responsible, wise beyond their years. What often happened is simpler and sadder. They learned to monitor themselves closely because room temperature changed fast, and no one explained that this was stress. So what do you do with a voice like this? Stop treating it like an accurate narrator. Hear it as a time capsule. Its tone belongs to an earlier era. Its certainty belongs to a smaller nervous system. Its urgency belongs to a world where dependence was real and options were few. You do not need to crush it. Crushing usually repeats the same structure. One part attacks another for being unacceptable. That is still inner violence. The shift is stranger. You begin listening for the frightened assignment underneath the attack. What is this part trying to prevent right now? Now. Humiliation, abandonment, chaos, exposure. Then get specific. Vague kindness rarely reaches a scared, protective part. Specificity does. I see you're trying to stop me from being laughed at in this meeting. I see you're trying to make sure we do not get called selfish. I see you're worried rest will get us judged. Now the system has something concrete to respond to. Offer updated information the child part never had. We are not trapped in that classroom. My boss is not my parent. One awkward sentence will not end this relationship. I can repair a misunderstanding. I can survive someone being disappointed. Adult capacity is the missing data your critic often ignores. You may need behavioral proof, not affirmations. Send the email before it feels perfect and watch what actually happens. Ask one clean question in the meeting. Say, I need time to think. Leave a text unanswered for 20 minutes. Rest before the house is fully in order. Small disobediences teach the nervous system what safety talk alone cannot. Expect backlash. When old protectors lose control, they get louder. That does not mean your practice is failing. It means the role feels threatened. The critic may call you reckless, selfish, sloppy, weak. Unrealistic. Hear the panic in that language. A child manager is terrified of being retired before it trusts the new leadership. This is where self-compassion often gets misunderstood. People imagine it as softness without standards. Real self-compassion increases accountability because it reduces panic. When shame drops, your prefrontal cortex comes back online. You can evaluate mistakes more accurately, repair faster, and learn without turning one error into a verdict on your entire worth. There is good evidence for that. Research by Kristen Neff and others has linked self-compassion with greater resilience, less rumination, and more stable motivation after setbacks. Shame makes people hide, freeze, or defend. Warmth paired with honesty keeps people engaged. Your nervous system learns better from safety than from attack. Some people worry that if the critic calms down, they will lose their edge. Look closely at your own life. Has self-hatred actually made you clear, brave, and sustainably productive? Or has it made you tired, delayed, obsessive, and harder to live with? Fear can produce effort. It cannot produce peace. There is also grief here. If your inner critic is a child doing an old job, then someone should have protected that child better. Someone should have taught them that mistakes were survivable, needs were allowed, and love did not need constant prepayment. Many adults feel relief at this point. Then they feel anger, then sadness. Keep going. Under the critic, many people find a very young loneliness. The voice was loud, so you would not feel the original ache. The original ache says something harder to hear. I learned to stay close by managing myself constantly. When that lands, the target shifts. You stop trying to become flawless and start trying to become safe. And once safety grows, your life gets less performative. You answer more simply. You apologize less for existing. You stop rehearsing every conversation on the way home. You rest without secretly preparing a defense. The critic may still appear, but it no longer gets mistaken for your wisest voice. The darkest part is this. Many people spend decades obeying the critic because its voice feels responsible, mature, and morally serious. And identities around avoiding old shame, then call that personality. Which one of these landed too close to home?